Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do another installment in my series that I've already done a couple episodes of, which is if I could only keep however many of whatever category. I usually do 10. So today I wanted to give myself a challenge. As you may know, I am a blush girly. I love the blushes. I buy far too many of them, and yeah, I know a lot of them are the same color, but still. I decided to take on the challenge of if I could only keep 10 blushes out of my whole collection. So that's creams and powders. I can only keep 10. Also, I'm not going by formulas either. If I want to keep more than one of the same formula, it takes up 2 spots. So I'm being really strict with myself. If I could only have 10 total blushes, what would they be? Also, I will put it out there, these are not necessarily like these are my top 10 favorite blushes, because I also kind of had to think about making sure I had a blush color that would work with any kind of eye look, and that's very important to me. So I kind of had to be a little more versatile and not necessarily just pick all my 10 favorites, because they would probably all be some variation on like brown and terracotta, and that would be a pretty boring collection. Anyway, without any further rambling, I've got my little beverage of the day. We have Fresca today, hashtag not sponsored. And let's get right into it. So, as much as my kick lately has been cream blushes, and I am a cream blush girly, I feel like I would need to have a pretty healthy balance of creams and powders. So, I'm probably just kind of going to go back and forth between the creams and the powders that I have here. So let's go ahead and start with one of the powder options. I'm just picking these in no particular order. One of the ones that I feel like I cannot not have in my collection is the Bare Minerals Bronzer in the shade Kiss of Pink. I love this a weird amount. Like, after I first got this, I wanted to wear it on top of every single look. Every time I did my face, no matter what cream blush I had on, even if I had another powder blush on, I wanted to just dust a little bit of this over the top. Because for pale girls like me, this is absolutely the perfect color to make you look that like really nice in between of tanned and burnt. It's like not quite so pink that it looks like a sunburn, but it's got a little bit more of a warm undertone so that it's like a burn that's just starting to turn into a tan. And the finish is absolute perfection. It's just shimmery enough without being like a full-on blush lighter, like fully shimmery blush. It has a beautiful satiny sheen, and I just cannot get enough of using this. So absolutely without hesitation, this would be one of my must-have powder blushes. Now, hopping over to the cream side, something I've been really obsessed with lately is a red cream blush. Like a true, honest to God, red cream blush. I thought that it would look really, really stupid on me because I'm pale, but come to find out, if you work with a light hand and build in layers really slowly, it looks phenomenal on people who are as pale as me because it creates that like natural flushed look. So I had to put in the red cream blush that was my gateway drug into the world of red cream blushes, and that is the Fenty Cheeks Out Cream Blush in the shade Daiquiri Dip. Let me tell you, the first time I tried this, I was nervous. I was like, that's gonna look insane on me. That's gonna look absolutely crazy. I am too pale, that's not gonna work. Like, look at that. That's very bright, especially for someone of my skin tone. But when I used a fluffier brush and really blended it out on the skin, it's just the most gorgeous, like I'm cold kind of blush look, or like I've been out in the sun and I'm starting to turn pink. You know what I mean? And that's usually the look I'm going for. If I don't use a brown blush, I want to look like I either was just out in the sun or just came in from the cold. It's a really natural look and I love it. So yes, absolutely would have to have a red cream blush in my collection. And despite the fact that this was the one that got me into red cream blushes, this one is still my favorite. There's just something about it. The formula lends itself really well to blending it out into a sheerer layer on my fair skin, and it works just amazingly. So I have to have this one. Jumping back to powders, this probably won't surprise you if you've seen some of the videos kind of circa the end of 2023, beginning of this year. One of my powder blush obsessions has been the Revlon powder blush in the shade Apricot. I feel like I haven't picked this up in a while, and I need to put it back on top of my drawer where it belongs because it's just absolute perfection. It's a very unassuming looking blush, but the thing that I love about it is, number one, the formula is beautiful. It's just the right amount of pigmentation, just the right amount of satin sheen without being ultra shimmery, but definitely not fully matte. I tend to prefer something with a little bit of shine to it. And the thing about this one is that it's a real chameleon of a blush. So for some reason, no matter what look I pair this with, if I pair it with a cool toned or like a mauve look, it's going to pull mauve. If I pair it with warm tones, it's going to pull peachy. If I pair it with true neutrals, it's going to pull very neutral pink. Like, this just blends in perfectly with no matter what look I'm doing. I don't know. There's something about it. I love it. This on my skin tone is just like a match made in heaven, and I refuse to be without it. So this is definitely making the cut. Going back to creams again, this is sort of the cream equivalent of Apricot to me. Something that I can wear with like absolutely any look, and it's gonna look perfect. It's gonna just melt right into whatever the overall color theme of the look I'm doing is that day. So this is the Rare Beauty liquid blush in the shade Encourage. The Rare Beauty formula is probably my favorite cream blush formula in my collection, so I knew I had to have at least one of these. And the shade Encourage is my favorite shade I've tried because of that like chameleon-y quality of suiting any look that I wear it with. Again, something about this with my skin tone just looks like it belongs there. So that's it at full pigmentation when you just put a dot on. But then if you blend it a little bit, look at that. Is that not the perfect neutral pink? It goes with everything. And this one has a dewy finish, which I appreciate because, like I said, I lean toward the dewy and the shiny, not so much the matte. Ticks every single box. This was a given for me. This is my all-time favorite cream blush. It would never go anywhere. Going back to powders, I actually have two from the same formula. So this is a double whammy, and I am aware that it takes up 2 spots. So this is one of my favorite powder formulas in my collection if I'm willing to pick 2. But I also feel like the particular shades that I have in this formula fill some gaps in the collection that I've put together, if that makes sense. So are these necessarily in my 10 favorite blushes of all time? Not necessarily. I do love this formula. I think it's a top-notch powder formula. However, the shades are really special to me. These are the Persona Super Blushes. These are a fantastic powder blush formula. Again, they're beautifully soft, beautifully blendable, just the right amount of sheen to the finish, all of the things that I like in a powder blush. I have 2 shades that I think really kind of round the collection out. First is the shade Carmel, which is more of a little bit of a cooler tone pink without being that like aggressively cool tone pink that I really don't like on my skin tone. I can't get behind like the bubblegum pink blush thing. It looks so weird on me. But as far as cooler pinks go, Carmel works beautifully because I feel like on my skin it just looks a little bit more natural. So that is what Carmel looks like. Obviously I would blend it out more, but it works really well with like a mauve look or a pink look. It's just a little cooler than some of the other options I have here. As a rule, I tend to lean toward warm tones, so this is kind of a cooler option than the other ones that I have here. Speaking of loving on warm tones, I feel like this would not be complete without peachy tones, so I also have the shade Georgia, which is just the perfect shade of peach. It's really buildable, so I feel like you can start with a pretty light hand and work your way up from there. And some looks just really call for a peachy blush. And spoiler alert, I have a peachier toned cream in this collection, and I felt like it needed a peachier toned powder to complement it. So I would hang on to Georgia and Carmel, beautiful formulas, and in just the right colors I would need for this collection of just 10 blushes. So let me just go ahead and tell you about the peachier cream blush. Once again, probably surprising no one, it's another Rare Beauty cream blush. I have a mini of this one. This is the shade Joy. It is the perfect, like so peach, it's almost orange color of blush. I do like an orangey blush from time to time, but I didn't really want to take up a spot in this collection with a true orange blush. But this one pulls almost orangey when you wear it by itself. Like, that is pretty darn close to orange. However, if you kind of tone it down with a pink blush over top, it looks pretty standard peach. You could also combine this shade with Encourage to kind of tone it down, bring it a little bit more toward neutrality. So another good thing about having liquid blushes to work with, you can mix them together and create your own custom colors, so it wouldn't really be 10 blushes. So have to have both of these. I love them both too much to ever choose just one. And in terms of having that really, really warm orangey tone that I love, this definitely fills that niche. Back to powder, we have my all-time favorite powder blush, and I'm not exaggerating. This is my all-time favorite powder blush, and I refuse to be without it in any capacity. If I lost it today, I'd buy it tomorrow. I love this so much that it's actually kind of insane. This is the Buxom Wanderlust blush in the shade Seychelles. Look at it. Look at that just dirty, neutral, oh, so good. It looks almost like purplish in the pan. It looks like it's gonna be pretty cool toned, but it's absolutely not. It is this gorgeous brown, just like muddy deliciousness with this underlying warmth. And the shine, hello? Like, that is definitely not what you think you're getting when you look at that pan, right? That is way warmer. This looks pretty purpley pink, but this is everything to me. This is exactly what I dream of in blush. I dream of this shade of blush. And that perfect shimmery finish, it's just the right amount. It's not like highlighter shimmery, but it's a little bit more than some of these other powder ones give you. I mean, it really has that like light reflecting property. I could wear this every day. I could wear this blush every single day. I know a normal person probably would wear the same blush every day, but I'm a little bit out of my mind. So if I didn't have as many blushes as I have, I would wear this almost every day. I love this. It would never, ever be missing from my collection, no matter how small it got, really. Like, even if I could have like one powder and one cream, this would be the powder. Obviously, it had to be here. All right, back to a cream again. We have something that I picked partially for the formula because it is a liquid formula, and I feel like that could mix well with my other liquid formulas that I have here. But also this shade, the first time I used this shade, I was just so blown away. This is like I'm Cold makeup in a nutshell. And I feel like because I have that shade Carmel in the Persona blush, that's a little bit cooler than like the warm browns and the peaches. I needed something in a cream form to kind of go with that. So this is the Glossier Cloud Paint in the shade Storm. Now listen, I'm not saying this is cool toned, okay? It is very much advertised as like a warm rose. However, it's in the cooler direction for me. A little of this goes an incredibly long way, by the way. That is just one little tiny dot. And it just blends out to be this beautiful, like, berry tone. Like rose, berry, so beautiful. This on my skin is like the I'm Cold makeup trend done flawlessly. This is exactly what I'm looking for if I want to do that kind of look. Like just came in from the cold, wind been nipping at your face kind of look. This is the perfect shade. And like I said, I can mix it with other shades to create kind of different looks because I feel like it makes a strong base shade. But holy crap, I love just wearing this by itself. The other thing too is that I would be super comfortable wearing this all by itself, no powder blush to complement it at all, because the lasting power of this is crazy and a little bit goes such a long way. So many things to love about the Glossier Cloud Paints. I really would like to get some more shades, but Storm has a very special place in my heart and obviously had to be here. It's a classic blush formula for a reason, honestly, it really is. Is a duo cheating? I don't think so. It's still one product, right? It's still one product. And I'm sure that if you've been around this channel before, there is one blush formulation notably missing here. So for number 10, the final pick, of course I was going to put in a Patrick Ta blush. Of course I was. And if you've been here before, you can probably say it with me what shade it's going to be. She's So LA. She's So LA is that girl. Really, in terms of browns, Seychelles is the only one that I have other than this in this collection. So I think I did pretty well narrowing down the brown options. I love brown blush, okay? I really love brown blush. So this is heavenly to me. When this came out, I went nuts. I went feral for this. This is the perfect, like, so brown it could be a bronzer blush for me. I'm obsessed with it. And of course, it has a powder formula and a cream formula, so it's kind of getting that 2-in-1. The formulas in here are top notch. The powder is super smooth and blendable. It is the perfect shade of like muddy brown, just, like chocolate brown blush. Like, you probably see that and you're like, there's no way that looks good, but I swear it does. I swear it does every time. And the cream is beautiful too. It's more of this like balmy texture. It's really, really thin. Some of the later ones that he put out were more true rich creams, but this was one of the original releases. So it's a really light pigmented balm, but it still builds up really beautifully. You can definitely add more to get it to a level of pigmentation. It's a little bit more. And I love that they're not identical shades. You have this one that's like almost chocolatey brown and then something that's a little bit more warm orangey. And because Patrick Ta is a genius of formulations, these are designed so that you can wear the cream and then the powder on top. Or, and this is what Patrick Ta actually recommends doing, you can wear the powder and then top it with the cream. And that's actually my favorite way to wear this. The powder makes a beautiful base and the cream never picks up any powder makeup, but because it's got that balmy consistency, it adds the most beautiful dewy look to the cheek while also depositing a little bit more pigment and a little bit of dimension because they're slightly different colors. I understand that I'm waxing poetic about this, but truly a staple of my blush collection, and if I only had 10, would not be any different, would still be a staple, and I'd probably wear it more. So She's So LA rounds out this collection, and I think I'd be happy. I think I'd be happy with these 10. I'd be sad I couldn't have more than 10 because I'm a blush hoarder. But I think I'd be happy with these 10. But that is it, you guys. Those are the 10 blushes that I would keep if I could only have 10 blushes in my entire collection. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave me a comment and let me know what some of your favorite blushes are. The blushes that you would keep if you could only have a few. I would love to hear your recommendations. And if you want to see more from me, more in this series, or just hear more about what I have to say about makeup, please hit subscribe down below. I would absolutely love to have you. Until the next one, bye, you guys.